Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Barcast TV. We're here after the BPL Season 7 finals. I've got my man Blowdeer here to go over some of the games. Blowdeer, congrats again, man. Well played.
Thank you. What's up?
It's another wonderful day here in Central Texas. Fall is upon us, so it's getting really nice outside, but that's not what we're here for. We're going to be looking at some of the games you played in the semi-final series versus X Factor. So before we get into it, can you kind of set the stage for us on maybe what you think about X Factor, his play style, maybe any adjustments you made to your own games beforehand going up against this specific opponent?
I think X Factor is the kind of player who likes to cook a lot. Like, just go in the skirmish game and figure out what to do against specific opponents as well. Like, I think he would be the one to do like metagaming, that kind of thing. Um, like Randy did that
Battle
against me a
started.
lot in the finals as well.
Metagaming,
Because
how do you mean? Sorry.
for example, on this map, Randy made 4 con start, which
Right,
is
right,
suicide,
right.
essentially. But like he knows that I was just playing bronze here, so that was fine.
Right, right. Yeah, that's a great point. Actually, I remember that game specifically because you do open Cortex bots on this map and play fairly defensively, right, with your first few cons, right? So I guess he kind of
Yeah,
got away with that, knowing specifically that's how you like to open on this match. But
yeah.
um,
I just like to play solid, and also I just didn't have like multiple plans figured out. I guess it's not too hard to just come up with something on the spot for like vehicles, but
right.
um, I was like, okay, I'll just play it safe, and I think I can, as long as I'm not like too far behind, I think I'll be good.
Yeah, that's a good point. So I guess like straight away, I noticed you did this most every game. Is there a reason you prefer to do the 2 mechs over the 3 mechs open here on this map, or is that
Well, I
some
mean,
reasons?
technically, you get your con out faster, so your expansion could be faster. I don't know if it's like I haven't like tested them. Like, I didn't like make a spreadsheet of builds or anything like that, so
Yeah.
I don't know for sure. Also, like the rest spots start kind of nice. I go for the rocks um, because I'm going for the 2 max start.
Right.
But I don't know if it's good, to be honest.
I saw a lot of players using this, like even doing vehicles. I think Teddy was using that quite a bit. I saw he would do 2 max vehicle spawns here as well. So just, I guess, prioritizing the earlier construction vehicle
Yeah,
over a bit of extra metal.
yeah, you get your first con out really fast, but then you also have to move your com really early because otherwise you run out.
And I'm pretty sure you were expanding with the commander. Is that just something like you just, I guess, think is good, or is that just like kind of the meta on this map, you'd say, or just what are the drawbacks
I
of that?
mean, it's mostly meta. It's just like really safe and easy to do as well. Um, you can't get killed ever. You
Oh, it's
always
safe,
get the
you say,
bomb.
huh? Yeah.
Yeah, unless it's mine snipe, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you get what I mean. It's like it's pretty hard to kill the commander of the game, especially if the enemy's vehicles. Like you just can't do anything to it. So you always get it, like guaranteed. If you go for cons to expand vertically, like it's a really far away position. If you lose those cons, you're kind of cooked.
Yeah, I experienced that many times in my practice games for this. Yeah, like you're saying, like losing cons out here and here just kind of feels super bad just because it like takes so long to like reinforce them. Like I guess even so these ones, and like this is just so far away from the main as well. Like these mexes and
Yeah, it's less risky, but you have less units early on. On this map, though, it doesn't matter that much that you have less units, so you don't really need to be assisting the lab for a very long time with con.
is that just by the fact that like the rush distance is so long, or like your opponent's playing so greedy as well, or
Yeah, rush distance is large, and well, unless you're X Factor right now.
yeah. So what do you think about this approach? I guess it's like an off meta build, but you have any thoughts kind of come to mind on it's open from X Factor, or what you were thinking when you noticed he wasn't in the like the normal spawning position, or even seeing arm.
Yeah, he was kind of faking it out here, so I couldn't tell yet. I still thought he was in the regular spawn. And just playing arm bots. Oh, this is a pretty big mistake. I could have just stopped this from coming in, but I didn't, so that kind of sucks. But yeah, I guess I don't see it yet. It'll take like a little bit longer. Basically, when I see a comb to come into my base like that, I was like, I kind of need my comb back. In case he has like Centurions, basically. Like, then he could just walk down my base. So that's why I send my comb back to respond to his comb. I lost some units unnecessarily. It was really bad, actually. Like, it was really not a great response. Like, I did the right things, I just didn't execute it very well, you know? So, you know, I lose these grunts that are on the front line here, I think. But basically, the idea here, once you see this, is just make some thugs, because thugs are the only thing that can kill the commander, really, realistically.
Right.
And they can kind of slow down any Centurions or whatever. And yeah, I wanted to send my comeback just to be safe. I don't know if sending the comeback was absolutely necessary, but yeah, it's safety. And then all the cons should be going to expand south. Instead of
Out this way as opposed to like more closer to him.
Well, middle is fine too. I mean, I'm just saying that like basically they need to be expanding because I'm gonna lose a lot of mexes here. There's no point having them assist lab, like it would just stall.
Okay, yeah, I didn't quite notice that. Oh, I didn't notice the second LT actually put up behind the main base as well, but
yeah, I'm not sure if it was necessary. But yeah, I'll lose a bunch of stuff here. So I lost the grunts up north, and these pawns got to do a lot of damage. So it's honestly, this was not a great execution for me. Yeah, after there's like 5 thugs, we're pretty much fine. Like, I thought he would come with Centurions, so I was a bit playing it really safe. But I could have already switched. I guess I see some stuff on radar, so maybe it's fine to keep producing thugs. But the goal here should be to just, you know, go through the middle now and just defend with the thugs and the calm is fine.
Yeah, thugs do a pretty good job of like pushing commanders off of these like positions with a few LOTs, and they kind of can just like walk them down like that.
Yeah, so. Thugs have really good stats and they are outrange commanders, so really good. I missed my here as well, losing 2 thugs for no reason, so definitely execution issues.
Yeah, I mean, do you have any like nerves playing these games? I know you're very experienced in terms of like, you know, playing in tournaments, but does that ever come into play for you, or?
Well, I think I have like a small amount of stress, and that's like what they say is that a small amount is good. I think that's definitely the case for me. I think I have like the correct amount of stress, basically.
So this is pretty much held. What was your thought process from, I guess, this point in the match? You would go back into what your original plan was, which I guess is just kind of splitting the map in half, or I'm not sure what your plan is actually, but
yeah, I am not sure. Like, I was surprised that his push, like, he didn't commit harder to the push. So at this point, I was a bit confused on what to do with the thugs. But basically, game plan is just, I mean, make more grunts. I mean, the only thing he can really do to establish map control is to spam pawns, and grunts are good against pawns. So just spam grunts down the middle and south, and try to, you know, expand everywhere, just like normal. Yeah, basically it was just disrupted me, but eventually I want to get back to where I was doing.
yeah. Speed this up a little bit. I wonder if, is there ever a world where you just like reclaim these thugs, because there's just not a lot of way to get great utility out of them, or is it better just to?
Well, I mean, they're there to stop the comp from doing it again, right?
Right.
And if the enemy tries to push with their own maces or something, I mean, this is a pretty close distance, so they're not like useless. It kind of sucks that they're just there acting as LOTs basically, but I don't think reclaiming them is worth the BP.
Oh man, this radar is like just barely not able to see
Yeah,
any of this.
oh, it's so annoying. Like I just kept running in with the thugs and losing them, and never seeing the LLTs. Like they were always in out of vision. Like establishing vision in this game is just really hard. Like nothing has quite enough vision. It feels like look at that.
Yeah, it can be pretty oppressive, and I would say
Like
that.
I have to zoom in. Like the only way to see that is but to zoom in and look at the lasers firing at you, or like hear it, I guess.
So in this map, do you favor going like second vehicle or second air lab, and why? Or is it more situational than just kind of
Yeah, I would
doing one?
say it's situational. Generally, I would say um, vehicles if you're against the like core vehicles, which is the normal thing.
Right.
Now he's playing arm bots, so or if they're playing core bots as well, you'd go vehicles probably. But because they're playing arm bots, the grunts are actually very good against them. So you're not like in a rush to get to incisors. And also, it's kind of hard to do an air transition because it takes a lot of energy.
Right.
I do go for air here, it looks like. Yeah, so yeah, that's probably the main concern is getting enough energy, getting some energy storages before going for the air. I only had one here, which is kind of not enough. Yeah, I stall here. Like it was actually this was not a great transition to be honest.
Three's an okay number. I guess you kind of got away with it. Like you were
I
selling
only
there
had
right at
one
the end.
storage. I only had
Yeah.
one storage. So
Right.
yeah.
So you would say like, yeah, have multiple e-storage before going for the air transition, or I guess like bombers specifically, or it's another bit more
Yeah, I mean, I guess
expensive?
if the wind is at 19, then maybe it would be fine still. But yeah, I definitely didn't have enough energy plus energy storage here. 3 would be pretty normal, or 4. Depends on how many bombers you want to make. Basically, you just want to have enough energy in storage that you can rush out the bombers with like, no stalling.
Yeah, like perfect transition, I guess.
Yeah.
So one thing I noticed in your tournament run was it just seemed like you always had like kind of pocket shuris at every point in the game. Like you just always had a pack of shuris. Is that something you're intentionally shooting for, just, or is that just maybe habit
Yeah.
almost, or?
Shuris are just so useful. If you make the air lab, you should just make the Shuris, pretty much. Like, unless it's a really small map or something. They can pretty much, on a big map like this, they can always find some value, so I just default to always making them after their bombers, pretty much. I mean, on some maps you'd make fighters because the enemy also goes air or whatever, right? But you always, before reclaim the air lab, you want to have some Shuris out.
So I guess, yeah, exactly that. You reclaim the air lab, go back into bots. Can you talk us through your reasoning behind that?
I think this is for res bots. Yeah, there's res in the middle, so the bots are for res bots here.
And you're not worried about like some kind of counter airplay, or like you feel like you don't need to have any like figs in this position?
Well, the enemy's armed, so it's not as scary. You know, there's not gonna be any counter stories, right? It's more or less likely that they go air, and also they he made whistlers, so that also makes it less likely that they're gonna go air. They just seemed also just really committed in the north, right? Like they have a lot of mass bomb there.
X Factor, you mean, like in this position here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Curious a little bit.
Yeah, get the resbots out. Quite a bit of them.
Yeah, here the whistlers are kind of to kill the LLTs. Like they're not the greatest, to be honest, but they give vision, and they do kill Janus, so they're like not that bad in the situation. Generally, though, Lasher's whistlers are just a pretty bad unit because they're used to be so dominant in 8v8, they just got nerfed to death. They're basically useless everywhere except where it's like a really small lane.
Yeah, small
So
lane. I guess like really just
yeah,
like a bunch of LLTs, like clearing that out. And like as you said, they do fairly well, like kiting Janus, I suppose. Like
yeah.
which we don't see too much in 1v1s
He
currently.
did make some here, so it ended up working out kind of. But yeah, against like medium tanks, they're pretty worthless. They do kill LLTs pretty fast, surprisingly though.
Yeah, they're fairly strong. So in this position here, do you have any like idea of where the game is going or what your like a game plan is from this exact position or
Well, it looks like the reclaim field is pretty big, so pretty much have to fight over it. That's kind of how the game goes with how strong res is, and just reclaim as well. Like the reclaim is really high. So when it gets this big, and it looks like he's committing to it more, like I have to go all in here, basically on units. I can't transition at all. Um, some units down the south would be good. Just kind of APM stalling, I guess. Yeah, there they are.
and
But
you're
like this is the most important thing on the map, so I'm focusing more on the north side.
can you talk us through your thought process on reclaiming in this position instead of resing?
Well, I wasn't sure if I could keep the rest spots going there. Like I wasn't sure if I was gonna keep winning the fight. That's why I started reclaiming it.
Mhm.
Yeah, like look, his comes here, so it was good that I reclaimed it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I always like to say it's best to reclaim contested reclaim fields instead of just going
Yeah,
for the res because
yeah, the reclaim's much faster. Basically, always if you're on the enemy side of the map, you always reclaim. Here, it's not really the enemy side of the map, but it's kind of the contested part between us, to be honest.
I thought this was pretty interesting. Why did you switch back into brutes or thugs here rather like from two
Well, I
labs?
think thugs win against brutes. Now, the issue is that they lose against pounders, kind of, because it's like in a 1v1, it's just really hard to avoid getting hit by the pounders. They just like randomly hit ball of thugs and just do billion damage, right? But he's, I guess Janus is probably similar, so maybe they would have a problem there too. But the reason I make thugs is just they're actually really good at fighting a brute ball.
Hmm.
And they're really good at fighting the com that's there, right?
Hmm.
Like you cannot make brutes against com really.
Okay, that's so you're saying that's I guess more of a response to the commander being here so much as just thinking they deal with stouts and medium tanks.
Well, it's both really.
Mm.
Like thugs stack up a bit more. Yeah, they just you have more thugs firing at the same time. When the brute ball gets big enough, then not all of them are firing anymore.
Right. Yeah, I'd say they're a little bit easier to control, like kiting backwards a bit, you know, like
Yeah,
so.
yeah, it's dangerous though against Janus.
Also, there's a bit of a terrain elevation change here, so if you are like just camping the high ground, they perform a bit better even too. So I'm not sure if that was.
Yeah, yeah, this was definitely a good position for me to be fighting in. I had the hill up top as well. That was really nice.
Hmm. Yeah, pretty strong game. It was interesting to see just the constant lab switching. I think he went like what, open bots, reclaimed that, went to one lab air, then to vehicles, reclaimed the air lab,
Yeah,
remade the bot lab for res bots, reclaimed it, straight medium
went back to
tanks.
brutes as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, once you start winning, then you want to go back to brutes because you want to be able to raid with them. Like thugs are only there for winning the fight, but then
right.
they are not that good after that.
Mhm. Yeah, of course, like they have slow movement speed, right? So it's like, kind of hard to leverage them and like counterattacking, right? So uh,
Yeah,
I do kind of want to look at the game versus Andy on the same map because I think it played out quite a bit different, but I noticed a few really nice things. Maybe we have time
yeah,
for that.
sure. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, so same map, different match, right? This is taken from the finals versus Andy, so I'll just load into this real quick because it was a much different game, but I was really impressed at certain points, like when there was that big fight in mid, you were doing a good job kind of like stabilizing that position, but at the same time you were like counterattacking with brutes, so maybe we can get a good shot of that.
Yeah, this is a game where I had to play from behind from the very start because the enemy metagamed me. But then they did the res ball and but tried to engage res ball in the middle, and I wasn't taking the bait. I did feed a little bit into it, but not enough for him to roll over.
Yeah, let's get into this game. So I maybe same question. What do you think about Andy, his play style? Like any specific prep you did, or like do you change your gameplay just going against him? Do you have any thoughts on that?
No, I literally just do the same thing against everybody,
Battle
and
started.
by the power of belief. You know, I just hope for the best that they don't metagame me, but they do. So I mean, it would be good to switch it up probably. But yeah, I didn't do that much, like enough prep to really be confident just changing it up too much. Although, again, like I don't think it would be too difficult here to just make a vehicle lab and make like 4 scouts at the start. Try
Yeah,
to catch people off guard from and make them not metagame me.
I think there is something to be said though about like just being confident in your own play, despite how your opponent might
Well,
adapt to you.
it's a disadvantage, right? Like I'm instantly behind by like a large margin from the start. Like you as the ground player, you can't really scout the enemy. So,
Right.
and even if you could, I mean, the scouting distance is large enough that it would be too late by the time the scout arrives, right?
Yeah, they're
So
very
it is
slow
just kind
units.
of there's a little bit of a build order RNG going on.
Yeah, so very similar open. I noticed you've been doing this in a lot of your games, just kind of escorting the cons and res bots with grunts instead of like, sending them across the map trying to get some scouting information. I guess these four do end up going across, but
Yeah, I actually sent this for thinking that okay, maybe he plays greedy and I can kill like a con up north. And he played greedy, but like he's got the LLT up and
yeah, it
incisor
was
in there.
it was like perfectly timed too. It was like it
Yeah.
just finished. The grunts were like right there. I was like, what?
But yeah, I just want to play safe and try not to get too far behind from the metagames. Because like I'm more confident in winning in longer games. As long as I'm not too far behind from the start, basically. That's just what I'm trying to ensure.
It's a good play style, and I like to like I guess when I coach people, I like to tell them like you have to be like confident in your own ability to like defend and attack and stuff like that instead of thinking, oh, I'm like playing scared, stuff like this is just kind of to your own detriment. So
Yeah, yeah. A lot of time, you like if you lose a bunch of games in a row, you start thinking that you can't raid at all, and then you start losing even more because now the enemy doesn't have to worry about anything; they can concentrate completely on attacking you.
okay, so how do you go about the transition to going vehicles? I know you said that in the previous game, right? Like if you're playing core bots versus core vehicles, you want to make that transition, of course, to just make the incisors. But is there a certain amount of like build power or cons or income you're looking to have before you decide to make that transition to vehicles?
Yeah, it's something like 2 to 3 nanos and maybe 30 metal income, something like that. It depends on the situation, obviously, quite a lot. And it's not too bad to go for air either. Like if the wind is really high, it's just really hard to get them enough energy for air so early.
Yeah, that too, and I'm always very surprised just how good incisors are at shooting Shuris. It's kind of insane to be honest, because it's like it seems like the one thing they should be vulnerable to, right? Like if you get the jump on the incisor ball with like Shuris and grunts, you can
I
maybe
mean, to
take a
be
good drop.
fair, if like resources to resources, sure he's absolutely shit on incisors still. But yeah, I mean they can shoot. That's something. That's more than can be said about some units like brutes. Like brutes are pretty bad. I mean they can sometimes AoE down the trees, but yeah.
This was an excellent little trade there, I'd say. 4 incisors for a single grunt, so
Yeah.
kind
Yeah,
of
and they're
like
on
it.
my side, so I get the res it. I immediately send the res bot there as well.
So we make that transition to bots. Is there a specific reason you kept the lab instead of reclaiming it?
I wasn't stalling yet. Now I'm stalling, so I might reclaim it soon. There's no reason to reclaim it until you start stalling. I guess I haven't
The skill issue
changed
or
yet.
something?
But also here, yeah, maybe some skill issue, but also keeping it for rest spot for a little longer because I saw that there's more rest to be had. Maybe
Yeah.
that's a part of it as well.
So, what are your thoughts on this position here? Do you feel anything specific stands out, or what would be your kind of approach going into the mid game here?
Well, felt pretty okay. I think here is where you can start making. Well, you probably want a couple pounders just to make sure that enemy can completely run over any side because pounders are just that strong. They pretty much anchor a position, so a couple of pounders are good here, and then can also go for like a couple of medium tanks because they're really good at raiding. You don't want to be using them for defense too much, but yeah, for raiding, they're excellent. But
When
yeah, again, like incisors are maybe not like you need enough to defend, but at this point in the game, attacking is a bit sus with incisors. I mean, it's a lot of reclaim you're giving up to the enemy, and enemy likely has their own incisors to defend. When you get the medium tanks, though, they trade pretty well against enemy incisors, and enemy can't really defend against like they can't defend with their own medium tanks because medium tanks just can't kill medium tanks. You know, like they just
yeah,
they don't hit. They do so little damage. It's like medium tanks. A lot of the value is in the HP.
great. When exactly do you transition to medium tanks off of incisors? Is there like
Well,
something that cues you into doing that, or
it's to make the raiding party, right? Like if I feel like I need a raiding party, like I'm safe enough on my side of the map, and I can make like a raiding party, then I make medium tanks. Obviously, if the game gets really long, then you do wanna like you'd rather make medium tanks than say incisors or whatever. But
right?
yeah, just like the first medium tanks are always just for raiding.
This was hilarious. Just face taking the exploiter shots there with the two cons.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know here that he was so committed to the middle. I guess he isn't yet. He hasn't yet made the factory there.
Switch into medium tanks and just kind of streams them into that position, right?
But yeah, he still has a little bit of a metal produce lead from the start, even though he's taking a ton of damage, like way more damage, right?
Yeah, I was really impressed, honestly, because like we moved out of that phase of the game where you're making grunts and they can get some utility. So I mean, you got so much value, right? I think you got a con over here. So yeah, there's the con right there. Took out a bunch of mexes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? I think there was
Yeah,
another con
and
over here.
importantly, he can't res it.
Right.
Like I lost a bunch of units doing that, but he also tried to do counter damage. I rest all of the counter damage, so I like all the counter raids. So my army value didn't go down, and he just lost stuff basically, and never was able to rest stuff. So
Yeah, still finding damage, even just sending off like packs of incisors, right? I think there's another counterattack over here that I don't think this one does much damage, but this one still, like, as a follow-up attack, did some
yeah,
fairly
if
decent
the
damage.
enemy had red spots now, I think this would be probably a bad raid, but he doesn't, so it's probably worth it. This was pretty bad, I would say. I mean, trying to make all these LLTs here and getting crushed.
Yeah. Now there's quite a big reclaim field forming, so I see we already have some pounders to the front line. That was really nice,
Yeah.
making those early enough to have them already arrive here.
Yeah, here you'd like expect something like Lashers to be good, but to be honest, there's nothing to anchor them. So you kind of just have to make medium tanks or thugs or something. Pounders are good, obviously, but um, they if it's like just a half move fight, the brutes can win against the pounders. So.
Yeah, they do. I think that is their one weakness, right? Is they're kind of relatively low HP compared to the medium tank, right? Like,
Relatively low range, at least.
that too. Yeah, medium tanks do outrange pounders, which I'd imagine, like, considering like pounders have been pretty popular in the meta, I'm wondering if like just the adjustment players is just microing a little bit better against them, or like staying out of range and kiting perhaps. But
Yeah, but it is really difficult because they do have like a reasonable amount of HP. So yeah, I don't know. You have the micro quite a lot to get rid
yeah,
of them.
that's true. And I guess the impulse too. Like if you do mess up in a bit, they can kind of like catch the brutes
Yeah.
and all that.
Yeah, so
So
that was pretty bad. Like, I mean, I just kind of gave him more res there.
right, yeah. I mean, we're obviously under quite a bit of pressure here in mid. Did you make any adjustments, or like what was your thought process here at this point in the game? Like,
Well, he's made some anti-airs, but here I know that the Shuri's are going to be useful because anti-airs are really slow in this game for some reason. So they can't keep up with raiding parties, right? Like, if he sends tanks down, I can Shuri it always. So actually making more Shuris here is pretty good. I guess I did reclaim my... Well, I guess I felt like I had enough Shuris at this point. I do have some. So I felt like, okay, he can't raid me anymore. So that's like the first thing. As long as you have some Shuris, he can't run too far away because the anti-air is just too slow. Like right here he tries, and I
yeah,
think my Shuris are going the wrong direction, but they could stun this. And basically you get a massive free trade if the Shuris stun raiding parties like this.
yeah. Medium tanks are just terrible at dealing with Sherry. They stun pretty quickly.
Yeah, it is a bit difficult position because he's able to kind of split my forces.
Can you
Like,
tell
he
us
can
about?
attack the south side while, like, I have some of my units on the right side kind of trapped there and not attacking, while he's attacking all his units are attacking south.
Sorry to interrupt you there.
Yeah.
Can you talk us through like why we always see you making walls like in these games? Like I guess for here and here. What's your thought process behind that?
Well, there's basically no way you can possibly respond in time. I guess I have a couple of raiders that are pretty good, but even then, I cannot possibly respond to a raid in time. Um, so basically, the only options are Shuri's and walls. Like, walls just delayed a little bit. They're a bit annoying to get around. And, you know, the units have to funnel through them. You have to target fire them. You know, they slow down just enough that you can, you know, you have a little bit of time to send units over there. Like, LLTs don't really help at that point. Like, once there's 10 tanks, it's just like, LLTs are useless.
That was a good trade for you. Yeah, really nice
Yeah.
arc there of units.
He's really trying to force the issue, but on my production is right there. It's most of my production is closer than his is. Like,
Right.
he has obviously a factor in the middle, but also half of his production is in the back.
The I mean, the Shuris are so good here because when I was looking at the position from Andy, like if he is able to push you like a little past like this line right here, suddenly like he can just start raiding everything like this and this. So the Shuris just help so
Yeah,
much
you'd think
defense.
so, but then there
Right.
sure is, yeah.
Yeah. So
If the anti-air bots were faster, then, you know, what might be a different story, but I mean, even then, if it's just a single anti-air bot, you just stun it, then it's fine.
Yeah. This is another point in the game where I was pretty impressed with just being collected enough to like feel confident. I guess like now looking at this now, kind of like or pause. It's like, well, you do have a massive army right here, so there is no doesn't really seem like a threat. So we ended up counterattacking here through these like channels constantly. I think the big one
Yeah,
that kind of won the game was this one here, right? But
yeah, I probably could have done even more of the counterattacking here. I should be able to tell that I have way more army now. Yeah, I'm sending more units in the south now. Because I realized that I have way more army in the middle and I'm getting all the rest.
but did you know he was T2? I guess now we see some Sheltons firing. So
No, yeah, I guess this is the first time I saw the tier 2. Obviously, the sumos just don't really make a lot of sense. I think maybe the crawling bombs might be good here for him. Like, that
yeah,
might have actually been good, but yeah, this is not it, I think.
yeah, that was something Slick kept saying is the crawling bombs would have been a much better choice. Like I know we see like Ubi doing that a lot with Armada bots, like the spy bot Tumbleweed.
I don't know why I suicided here in the middle. That was really bad. I mean, I sent it like a big raiding group on either direction. And then at the same time, I ended up suiciding in the middle. I have no idea why I did that, to be honest. It was really bad. If I had all my units still there in the middle instead of raiding, I actually would have killed the middle as well. But I split 3 ways, which is actually really bad. But, he did invest into the tier 2, and the tier 2, the units weren't that good. And Sheldon's definitely not it.
Yeah, they just have such little DPS, right? And tanks have such a high health pool, right? So it doesn't.
Yeah, they're like a very specific kind of unit. Um, like maybe if you have a hill, they can be good. I actually don't think they're too bad on the into the battle map because of the middle hill if you can establish that. But yeah, generally they're not the best unit.
There anything you think Andy could have done differently in this position? Like having control of the middle right here, maybe just trying to think out loud, like taking into different units. But I'd like to hear your thoughts on maybe how this game
Well,
could.
he was kind of just like giving me all the cards here. Like, if I defend this, I win the game, right? He could have just chosen not to do this push through the middle. Like, he could have tried it and then been like, "Oh, this is not working. Reclaim as much as possible and then get out of there and then play a normal game."
Right.
But he ended up just like really committing and suiciding into me, and I got the res reclaim. And then with the rest units, I just ran through random sides on the map.
Yeah,
Obviously, the tier 2 bots was bad, but even before the tier 2 bots, like, he had given me quite a lot of reclaim. And I did donate some to him too, but I also reclaimed some of those units while I was fighting, so it wasn't like as dramatic.
yeah. I think that turning point really seemed like when you kept backing up and you had this nice arc of medium tanks, kind of like here, and took that big
Yeah,
fight, and there's just a bunch of reclaim right there, which is just a little bit too far away from his position to contest, and of course much closer to your production as well. So pretty nice game. I
yeah.
was really impressed with this one. So two games versus Blood or X Factor here. Devil's Post Piles. Maybe that'd
Yeah,
be
you wish it was auto.
yeah, yeah. I don't know about that. It was pretty hype. I will say. I had been considering changing the format of the tournament just to like make the finals on its own day. So players, the finalists, have a chance to like maybe a little bit of extra time to prep, but just to kind of rest and be fresh for the last series of the event.
Right,
So
but a best of 7, like only a best of 7 in a single day, just seems a bit not that hype. I guess you could do a third and fourth place match on
that's
the
a good
same
idea.
day,
Yeah, yeah.
but I don't know. I think it might be just a little bit of a hype killer. I think the semifinals and finals in the same day are a bit better, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is exhausting, but at the same time, that's a skill issue. Like, it's ultimately not that many games. I mean, it's 5 games plus 4 for me. I guess it was 9 games. I got a big break, so it was kind of okay for me. For Randy, it was much worse.
Yeah, for sure. Because he played that. I would say I would have to imagine like a pretty draining series versus autopilot going to 5 games. Like that was
Yeah.
pretty insane. And then like just a quick little 15-minute break going and then going into the finals. So
Battle started.
I thought he was gonna spawn air.
Yeah, basically, I think Randy said in the chat as well that that's a skill issue, you know? Like, we should just have better stamina.
Yeah. No, I mean that's a fair criticism. Just to give you some sense of like my direction and with the decisions I make for the tournament. Like I'm just trying to make it as competitive as possible, right? And just
Yeah.
deliver the highest quality matches. So it is always a balance too between like, you know, not making it take as much time for players, right? I mean, already having to schedule what, 2
I think
weekends?
making it best for the viewers is actually a priority for me because that just makes it more hype. Like, I'm way more committed to the tournament if it's like feels like more people care about it, you know? And more people care about the result.
It's good feedback, of course. Like always willing to like, you know, take suggestions and try and improve the league. I mean, it's for everyone, like viewers and players alike. So we're trying to just make it as best we can. Oh, so Devil's Post Files. What are your thoughts on this map? What's your approach?
It's pretty cool. I generally don't like the boss in the middle. Yeah, just like having these high grounds where theoretically you can build artillery and stuff. It's a bit questionable. Oh yeah, you can't build the vehicle factory on that side apparently. Um, yeah. Otherwise, other than that, well, I guess the other issue I have with it is that the corner expansions are equidistant from each player. So theoretically, you could go steal the enemy expansion, and then it becomes really awkward. I generally like just players knowing which side they're supposed to go on, and it's like having a bit more standardized meta because then games go longer, and they're more fun. You see more of the units and whatever. There's more skill expression that way. But that's the issue with basically all maps that are four-way symmetrical.
So that's an interesting take, and I've experienced how I guess awkward it can be. Like if you try and go for bottom right and your opponent goes for sorry bottom left, and your opponent goes for bottom left as well, and it's just like both
Yeah.
commanders are here, and it gets a little weird. You don't really see that as like just a part of the decision making. You would need to be like just on top of like scouting and just knowing which side to commit for. You don't really like that randomness, so to speak, or
Well, yes, it's a decision-making thing, but it's also a decision that makes a very large impact in the game. Like, in general, I just like to see more T3s. And if the game ends because both of you sent your commanders in the same direction and then ended up trading. We didn't see that too much, so it didn't seem to be an issue here. But this has been an issue in like FAF maps and so on.
Oh, I mean, I could definitely see how that turns into like, just a meta play. Your opponent spawns top left, always goes bottom left, so you kind of like, I don't know, set up like a thug lab right here and like move your commander into
Yeah.
that position, right? So, I mean, personally, I mean, as a spectator, I'd imagine that would deliver some good games, but it would feel pretty bad to like lose in that way, right? When it's just like, oh,
Yeah, it's
unlucky.
weird because as a spectator, yeah, that is kind of cool. And if you watch StarCraft 2, it's kind of cool seeing the cheese, at least for a little bit. I mean, the problem with StarCraft is that late game sucks ass anyway, so like no one wants to watch that. But in this game, like you'd want to see more late game units. Like I think that would be more hype for viewers too. Like if you get a really long game, that's where everyone's watching it. Um, so like unique strats are hype, but also just games going long is also hype.
It is. I mean, I guess one counterpoint to that would be like if you become so predictable, right? Like your opponent can like go 4 cons before units against you. So,
Yeah,
you know, um, I guess you
yeah,
can't.
maybe you deserve it at that point.
Right, right. So, I mean, I'm all for players like taking advantage of other players that they've studied and prepared for, right? So it's like, oh, I know he does
Yeah,
this
that's
at
kind
this
of fair.
time. So, All right, so I guess back to the game. What do you think about X Factor's choice here, and how long did it take you to figure out he was actually doing this, and what was your thought process once you figured that out?
Took me quite a while to figure out how he started. Um, I was really confused at the start because it didn't look like he started from the middle, right? Because I think I saw the cons here,
Right.
and that was just like a really weird pattern. Yeah, I did not expect this, but at the same time, I did scout here on both sides, so I kind of knew where he was ish. Like I was really confused here. I was like not sure if he snuck the two cons from the bottom side, right? Like just really early. It's kind of a cool build, but at the same time, if you look at the game like 5 minutes forward, I'm quite far ahead.
Yeah,
So
yeah. He never really had that like power spike from having like air quotes faster expansions, right? Which I think that LLT's kind of slowed him down because he was never able to like put units over
yeah,
here to be
that's
confident
true.
enough
It
to defend it.
looks like he's stalling right now. So maybe it's a skill issue. Like if he just made more scouts instead of incisors, I think he would have been ahead. But then again, it's kind of hard to spend your metal on scouts.
Yeah.
Like if he didn't make all these LLTs, he just made scouts and expanded naked expanded basically. That would have put him quite far ahead, maybe.
So one thing I've been struggling with on this map is like knowing exactly when to take the geo. Is there specific like benchmarks you have mapped out to like when to go for the geo on a 14 wind speed map, or is it more of like a feel thing? But can you talk us through?
Pretty much only do it after getting all the maxes. Generally, maxes are just way more impactful. Geo takes. I mean, it just costs so much. It's a big investment. It's like going tier 2. I mean, it's not obviously not the same cost, but you know, you can think of it like in a similar way. Like you need a ton of energy to do it.
Yeah, for what, 13,000 energy. So, okay, that's a good, it's good insight. One thing to note, you can actually edge build a radar right here. I think that's the only post file you can actually do this on, but you can build that with the commander right there. This
Yeah,
radar.
that would have been good. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I saw someone do it. I think in the tourney as well. Looking at the WODs.
So,
Yeah, here it's really early ponders. Already made a couple. Obviously shouldn't be getting raided here, but it's a
not
ponder
the
map.
most,
So
not the most damage rate. So.
maybe Janus could be good here too, but yeah, ponders are definitely extremely strong.
Yeah, when I
Really
first
choke pointing.
when I first saw this map, I didn't quite understand how you actually ever attacked your opponent. I didn't quite realize that this was all just shallow water. You could just path through it. So
Yeah.
it kind of grew in me, I guess, the more I ended up playing on it. I feel like the games always do go long to like T2, so I do appreciate that, but it does feel a little bit scripted, so to speak. Like most of the games seem to look the same up until like the first like 10, 12 minutes, which
Yeah, and
feel,
then you just get the Zar spam. Like maybe it's a balance issue, but this is definitely good for that kind of gameplay. I think here, with his start, it was actually really hard to attack him, because I didn't want to attack the bottom because I knew the com was there. And then on the top, he had like a stream of pounders. I donated quite a bit here as well.
you did slow down his expansions. I think you ended up getting a con too and like sniped a few maxes, so it wasn't.
Yeah, and if you look at this point, I'm actually really quite a lot ahead. I would say that this should be, you know, one game almost already. But I end up throwing pretty hard.
Yeah, we will see that soon enough, which if it makes you feel better, X Factor did like the exact same thing to me, like on Arc Cats, like so
Yeah.
definitely expected it. Okay, so here this is interesting. I saw you do this in both games versus Andy. and I guess now X Factor. Is there a reason you go bot lab here over? I think it'd be a little bit more meta from what I've seen from players just putting us a vehicle lab down here. Can you talk us through that? Why you choose to go
Well,
bot
I
lab?
think theoretically the thugs are better, right? But the issue is that it's really hard to micro them against the pounders when you have just so much going on. Like if it was a 8v8 or something, then thugs would win against the pounders. Yeah, I'm not sure here. Like usually the pounders get a few shots off on the thugs and suddenly they start winning. Um, but the reason is just because theoretically the thugs do outrange the pounders, and they are kind of, you know, like I talked about, they're kind of good against brutes. So yeah, especially if you have like pounders with them, so nothing can dive them.
Yeah, Pounder Brute. Who knew that would be the unit comp of choice? So, um,
Yeah, or pounder thug. Yeah.
yeah, we've reached that point of the game where it's contesting these post files, which always can feel a bit awkward. Like your opponent gets
Yeah.
up the AA on your side of the map. It just it's a little
Yeah, but you
weird.
can stun up the Shuri, so it's not like the worst if that happens.
Yeah,
It's a bit annoying though.
I did see that response. I think one of these post piles in one of your games, you were just using Shuris and bombers to
Yeah, I
clear it
guess
out.
Randy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I suicided quite a lot of units here to his com earlier. But yeah, basically after getting the pounders out, you can go air. That's mainly the way I look at it.
Finally going for the Geo here and see. This position feels
Yeah.
very strong actually too, like like pushing into your opponent's quadrant with this Thug Lab here, just because like this high ground is like so strong, right? Gives you.
Yeah. I think at this point I could have chosen to just go tier 2, right? And play it safe, right? I would have been ahead and would have gotten the reclaim the bottom. Could have been a good game, but I ended up kind of all-inning and feeding.
Okay,
Not
all
sure
right.
why.
Yeah, I didn't quite. And now that you're saying it, I can see, right? Like this would be the perfect time to go T2, right? Like there's no pressure coming from here. You've got a good position, right? You've got a healthy army value. You can literally just
Yeah, I
back
guess
up to here.
I was just really confident because I had won like every game, just won T1 pretty much. Um, Maybe that's why. I was just like stuck in the mindset of trying to get more damage in tier 1. Yeah, big feat here.
The thugs are doing quite a bit of work though, so
Yeah, he had to build a lot of defenses there. Yeah, he's getting the res on the units that I donated earlier. Technically, I have a massive army value advantage. I should technically win this, but I think the pounders here get some shots on the thugs or something, because like this looks so unwinnable for him.
right, right.
I guess he's getting a lot of res as well right now, and yeah, poor micro from me. If I said everything here, maybe I would win right now.
They
And
did
just
use
end the
repair
game.
here though too, right? I think. Yeah, these are all repairing right now. They're not resing.
Yeah, that's
So
actually kind of good. Yeah. Yeah, if all the units from the bottom were in the middle right now, I think I would win the game, right?
yeah, surely.
Or maybe even make some Shuris and spam them. Even if he has lashers, they can still get a few stuns off. But yeah, this ends up being... So this is basically death roll. Like, I was quite well ahead before this point. Yeah. Just kept feeding into it as well.
Jeez, that repair was ridiculous actually, because he had like 12 tanks, so I took on like 30 units up here. I don't know how that
Yeah, they
works
get
out.
so much value from repair, right? Medium tanks do. Yeah, maybe repair is the play there. Maybe I should have spammed up like a bunch of conbots, rest bots like he did. Make some brutes.
So this is that awkward moment where you're 2-2 and have less units than your opponent, so you have to like really be on top of your micro, like
Yeah.
not taking damage.
It doesn't look unwinnable still. You know, if he plays this correctly, like he should be well ahead, but doesn't look completely dead right now. I do have the tier 2, and that theoretically I can defend all this, especially with the Furies. And since he's suiciding some of his units in North, that's like kind of a nice thing. I don't know, I guess I don't have res boss to reclaim it immediately.
I mean, I guess you do have some like Aircons though. You could potentially
Yeah.
leverage, I suppose. But so, were you worried about your commander's position here, or are you just feeling as comfortable? It seems like okay.
Once I
So
saw the air, right now, I see the air, I'm like, oh, I need to make an anti-air turret, and then I start moving back, I'm like, maybe it's about time to leave. But yeah, that wasn't fast enough.
I guess you do have enough like tigers showing up to kind of not feel so threatened by like an army being between your commander
Yeah.
and your main base, right? So
Yeah, at this point, I'm like, okay, I will clean this up with tier 2. That's not gonna be an issue. And I need to move back, but then I kind of stick around here to fight the thugs. And make the maxes.
looking at this position here, I guess like I'm thinking about X Factor's position here. I'm wondering actually exactly why he chose to go for the calm snipe because it seems like I mean he has like a pretty would have had a pretty decent position, right? Like having like just like tons of army value here. He did some max damage to you, right? I guess
Yeah, he did give me a lot of reclaim back. So I think I would be ahead here if he had just played tier 2. If he didn't suicide the army though, if he had just reclaimed it and made tier 2 of that, then the game would be maybe in his favor or even at
right,
least.
right. You know, Zars do pretty much shred like brute pounder though, so it's kind of hard to get value from them once there are Zars out on the board. It's just
Yeah.
like so
So I'm
choked up.
going back here. My calm. I was way too late for sure, but yeah.
Yeah, you flew a T2 count down here. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't want to make the AGO in my base. Just this that risky.
Yeah, I have the same approach. Like, if my main's here, I'll just fly the T2 con down and take this Geo, and then I'll take this AGO, something like that. But
Yeah.
absolute cinema here. We all know what happens.
I guess the cloak doesn't even matter because the radar bubble won't do anything against bombers anyway. So I should have just kept walking probably.
Yeah, to your main base, that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knew? Right about at an hour. That makes a pretty good video. I know there is this one extra match, which I actually might do a video on this, like Darth Revan versus Bloodier on pools. I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, we can just go into it real fast, but I thought it was pretty cool your approach to defending your expanding cons until you had enough grunts to like start like contesting the board.
Yeah, pretty much you need to plug all the holes where the ticks can get through, and then only then you can start attacking and moving out.
What did you think when you saw he was playing Armada bots?
Oh, I expected it because he had played it before, and also he has been like trying to taunt me like the previous day or whatever. It's like, oh, I'll play only arm. I'll play only arm. Like he wanted to prove that arm is good and so on.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Thanks for sharing that. I didn't know X Factor actually was kind of like is dogging on you, saying he's gonna beat you with Armada in a core favored matchup. But yeah, we don't have to go through this whole game. I just thought it was like the very first like 4 or 5 minutes I thought was just like super clean, like how you.
Well, no, I actually mess up here, so I make too much wind and end up mass stalling and overflowing energy. Like I'm even overflowing energy now, but. So I basically ideally here, like I did against Randy, I moved my com earlier, didn't finish the
turret with the commander.
Yeah, I just made a few less wins and so on.
Right.
It's not exactly clean. Basically, the first phase here with the grunts is just to have 1 grunt per like anything that ticks can attack, because you can't really spread them out yet. There are always going to be gaps, and then the next phase is just trying to get the grunts into the gaps where like the tightest chokes to block all the ticks coming in, and then after that you can send all the remaining grunts into attacking. Yeah,
pretty clean, I'd say. I was pretty impressed in this game. I've actually watched. We've gone back and watched this specific game a few times, just to see how it's done, because I thought it was a pretty good example of like just how you play Cortex bots versus Armada bots, right?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it is a good matchup for Cortex bots, for sure. I think he definitely could have played it better though. Like he didn't make Centurions. Well, he did eventually, but it was
Right,
way
right,
too
right.
late, right?
Yeah, that's I don't want to say it's like standard, but it feels like your hand is kind of forced to making that unit because when you get this high level, like players are too good with control, and like they'll never give the arm player that really good trade they need on top of the ground. So they're just like always kiting back, right? So
Yeah, and surprisingly, he didn't metagame me either. So he could have easily metagamed me and went for an insane greedy start, but he didn't end up doing that. Very thankful.
yeah, because like once again, like you just play like really conservatively with the first few grunts and
Yeah.
just never really move out on the map. I guess that was the one like halfway decent trade, but it didn't really matter. It ended up not really mattering,
Yeah,
honestly.
it's a bit tough, definitely, with two sides to control. It's a pretty small window that you have to move your grunts back when the enemy starts moving toward you. Small power stall issues here as well in this game. Earlier,
So
I guess.
sorry, I guess I want to ask you kind of like an off topic question, but how do you think playing free for all improves your play, and like why would you recommend players practicing free for alls to get better at 1v1s?
I mean, I think it's a bit of a meme, but it does to some extent. I mean, you get to get exposure to super late game, which um, is really rare in 1v1, so it's not gonna come into play in most 1v1 games. But when it does, I mean, it's nice to know what the units do, you know? Like, if you just played 1v1, you don't even know what's a behemoth, right?
I think that was one of my big adjustments, like just kind of starting to play 8v8s and stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
just like you're just nowhere near as experienced in the later parts of the game.
Yeah, there's a couple of units, other units as well. Like, you get experience abusing the EMP launcher, stuff like
Mhm,
that.
right.
And in the early game, the Mace War, like, you kind of saw that in the Into Battle game against Randy. Like,
Right.
that's a very similar to the early game in the world.
Mm-hmm. Is there any more?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a meme still. Like, I'm a bit jokingly saying that you should play FFA, right?
Yeah, I just thought there was an interesting correlation between the top 1v1 players and the ones I saw spamming free-for-alls, right, between BPL seasons. So I'm thinking
Well, the
like,
thing is, if you are like one of the top players, then in a free for all, you get to the late game, right? But if you are a new player, you're not getting there ever, pretty much,
right,
or like it's pretty rare that you get there. So it's
right,
like way less fun. Like if you don't get to kill someone at the start, like it's not as fun.
fair enough. Well, I think that's makes for a pretty good episode. Just want to say, thanks again, Lodier. Congrats again for taking down another season. I guess you're the
Yeah,
player to beat
thanks.
now. Yeah. You any comments or thoughts you'd like to share before we sign off?
Well, no, just thanks for the tourney and all the tourneys, really.
Yeah, happy to do it. Like to sit on my couch and watch some pretty high level bars. So it makes for an entertaining day for sure. But yeah, I just want to say thanks for watching. If you can, hit the like button, leave a comment, subscribe, and we'll be sure to bring you some more BPL replay reviews and finish posting the matches here soon. So thanks again. Cheers.